This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
Hello, welcome to Undistracted. I'm your host, Laura Bennett, and this is the podcast where we learn from our guests how to be better at building our lives with intention around our passions, our purpose, and dealing with some of the stuff that can get in the way of it. Our guest today is an incredible artist you'll be familiar with if you're a fan of The Voice. Tarryn Stokes is an Aussie singer-songwriter. She won the 12th season of The Voice Australia in October 2023 and, at 40 years of age at the time, became the oldest winner since the show's inception back in 2012. Now, all these months on from the show, Tarryn is establishing herself as an artist in her own right outside of the Voice spotlight with her brand new single just released. In this conversation, Tarryn talks to me about learning to be seen, the sacrifices her family have made along the way, and why you have to have some mental health support no matter what industry you're trying to find success in. Let's welcome Tarryn to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so it's been, a little over a year now since your original audition on The Voice. Now we're getting to see you release some of your own music, really stepping into it, I think, as a fully fledged artist, in your own right. Is that how you see this time as well?
Yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do, but I don't think I had the confidence to do it. And so I think The Voice has just really obviously helped with a platform, but given me the confidence to step out and believe in my own writing and believe that I can put my music out. And yeah, so it's a really good time.
It's a pretty big adjustment to have a dream, I suppose, of being an artist and writing in this way to then actually step into it. How has that affected you, from a sort of a mindset perspective, I suppose, to step into this new role?
It took a while to kind of believe it myself, I think. Like at the start, I guess, I just couldn't believe that I won The Voice. I was just like, taking time with that. And then it just took a little bit of time to kind of sit into that. But the more that I've gone on this journey, the more I kind of thought, I should have done this a long time ago. Like I've got that kind of, not confidence, too much confidence, but just like, now that I kind of know how it works, it feels like a good time. But it was like, I feel like I should have done this a while ago if I had the confidence to do it.
I feel like that's what happens, right? Like people put off decisions. Maybe I should speak for myself in this regard. Like there's things that you imagine doing, and then the moment you rip the Band-Aid and actually do it, you realize like, I really should have done this sooner. I'm not quite sure what holds us back all the time.
Yeah, that's right. I think for me, it's personally, I have ADHD and I didn't realize that I have ADHD. And so that diagnosis came a couple of years ago. And I think like a little bit of perfectionism, a little bit of like, is it good enough? Would people like it? What do people think? And I feel like I've kind of grown in like out of that. And now that I know half the time I can't finish things is just the way that my brain works, and I just need to partner with other people and all those things. And so I feel like, I'm now stepping into that side and feeling confident in myself.
It's interesting you bring that up because so many women, I feel like this has been a story in the last couple of months, are getting these kind of adult diagnoses of ADHD and find it liberating. Has that been your experience?
100%. I feel like I know myself so much more. I'm definitely more, I accept myself a bit more. So instead of like feeling shame, like, oh, I couldn't do it this way, the way that you guys do it, but I did it this way. Now I'm like, oh, you guys do it that way. Well, I do it this way. And that's how I came to this conclusion. I had just more, I guess I keep saying the word confidence, but like in myself that, this is the way that God created me and this is good. And I bring positive things in that way. And I have some struggles, but as soon as you have that awareness of what it is, it feels like a breath of fresh air for you.
Yeah, all the puzzle pieces sort of coming together. But take us back a few years. I mean, people that have followed your journey on The Voice especially will sort of know some of this. But for people who are perhaps just kind of tuning into your story, where was it that music really started to become part of your life? How long ago was that?
Probably about 4.
Right at the beginning?
I think right at the beginning. My parents are musical, so my mum's a pianist. My dad always sings at home, but his brother is an opera singer. My sister played drums. My brother was in a choir. So we all just had a lot of music growing up. And I just was always drawn to singing. I used to play piano and violin and all that kind of stuff. And so, I just feel like there was never a time where singing was a decision. It was just such a passion that I was always finding myself singing somewhere or doing something with music. So yeah, it's always been around, and it's definitely part of who I am and how I express myself.
And deciding though to bring your talent, your gifts into a public space, I feel like that's more of a conscious choice. Was that one that you made intentionally, or did you feel like you sort of naturally just found your way into some level of spotlight?
I really do believe, I feel that God for me opens doors. And so I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a 1-year plan. It's just not the way that I work. So I feel like I just think he's funny and he leads me in funny places, and I do really believe in the right timing and listening to wisdom and listening to his voice, and yeah, having natural wisdom as well. So it just seemed like maybe when I was younger I wasn't mature enough to be able to do this, or I don't know, that was just different. But now I kind of know who I am. My priorities aren't swept away with fame or anything like that. They're obviously, I've got children, so it's more that. So I feel like it's interesting that it just felt like the right time that God opened the door. And I actually just had a coffee with a friend, and he said, "Oh, someone's looking for like people to audition for The Voice. Like they usually look for singers to audition." And I was like, "Oh," like at that stage I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, so I was like, I don't think so." But he was like, just like go and have a meeting with them, just meet up with them, and that was the audition. But for me in my head, I kind of like, oh, just do one step at a time. So I just really did one step at a time, and felt like it was right. I felt like I was in a good headspace. I have a really supportive, not had, I have a really supportive husband. And so, yeah, it just felt like the right time. So the door opened, but I stepped into it. And yeah, it's just really funny how life works, being a 41-year-old and then it happening now.
Yeah. Did you have any particular ambitions with your career up until that point? Like, were you content in what you were doing, or had you actually found yourself at a place where you wanted more?
I think I've always wanted to, like, I've always wanted this creative outlet. I've loved singing. I feel like I knew that every time I sing, it's weird, and I'm not trying to say this in a confident way, but every time I sing, I know that people do feel inspired. People always say things and like, "Oh, you made me cry," or, so I feel like that was something on my life that I wanted to share. But at the time before The Voice, I was, COVID happened, and I had a 1 and a 3-year-old. And then when I was on The Voice, it was 2 and a 4-year-old. So I actually didn't really sing anymore. I wasn't singing in church. There wasn't really any outlet for me to sing. So I was quite content not to anymore. So that's the funny thing. Sometimes when you give things up and it just comes back to you, I don't really know how to I was like, okay, here we go. So I feel like I've had a bit of a second chance, and I'm just going to give it all I've got, really.
And in what you mentioned a moment ago, this happening at a stage of life where a lot of people, I really do not like when people put limitations on things around age. Like, I love stories that really just kick those sort of things in the face, right? Because I just don't like the idea of us limiting ourselves in that way. But it's true what you say, that for this to be happening now, it really is not the mold we normally see in these kind of contexts. No. What's it been like for you, bringing the maturity of a bit of life experience, of some professional experience behind what you've found yourself arriving at now?
It's just a good place to be, because I feel like the world's changed as well. And, being an artist, it can look at like any shape or form. And so I feel like it's a good time to step into that and also encourage people. I feel like there's so many mums, and not even just mums, just people who feel encouraged that, oh, you can do it at 41. I could do this. And so sometimes when I'm doing my shows, I like to mention that, like, my age, not just because, I don't know, I just like to say I'm 41 and doing this now, and just to inspire others to be like, you don't have to fit the mold. And when it's your time, and just to give it a go. And, sometimes I remember being like 27 thinking, oh, I'm too old to do this anymore. Yeah. And it's like, it's just a mindset. So now I'm 41. I'm like, no, I'm not too old to do this. It's really weird.
That's the thing, isn't it, though? Like, even at a younger age, you could pick whatever age, and someone will have already said, oh my gosh, I'm 18. I'm too old for this. Like, it is such a mindset thing.
Yeah, it is. So we'll break that mold.
Yeah, and I think too, there's a logic in that as well that I always find a little puzzling. Like, let's just say for a minute, you're meant to have achieved everything by 30. Like, what are you meant to do with the rest of your life? Like, there's got to be something else you're doing, because you can't have lived an entire lifetime within that window.
That's right. And I think having kids at the moment, like some people are encouraging me, saying, this is good to show your kids. So I think when I first had them, I was just like, I'm not going to do anything else with my life. I'm going to be there every second and just like stare at them and like be like, I need whatever you need, I'm there for you. But I think, like, even for me, it took a while to be like, it's okay to do something that you're passionate about and, work and I want to earn money for them as well eventually, because that's something, that's my passion to support them and supply for them all their life. But yeah, it's really interesting, the mindset shift even for myself, to be like, yeah, actually you can show your kids that you can do something in an older age, and there's so much more life, and you're actually still quite young. It's all perspective. Like my parents are just like, you're so young,
Exactly, that's the thing. But your new single, let's talk about that. It's called Hold You, and it's very much inspired by your kids' life as a mum. Tell us a little bit about the idea behind this one.
Yeah, so I actually started writing it in this very room, which I've got my piano behind there, and my daughter was home with me. And I knew that I have to write songs, and it's trying to like find time to write the songs. And so she was sitting on my lap, and she had an earache all night, so I was kind of up with her quite a lot during the night. And I was just thinking, well, I'm gonna just try to write now. And then anyway, I started thinking about her, and like just kind of came to me the words, "I'll hold you till the night is over." And that's like one of the main lines in my song. And so I had all these ideas and a few like lyrics and a few melodies, and I brought it to these amazing songwriters who actually wrote Give You Love by Jessica Malboy and Jason Derulo. And so it was a real team effort, and I feel like I really wanted to be a part of the songwriting process. I didn't want to just feel like I'm a fly on the wall watching other people write my song. And so I felt like we really contributed equally, and it was like a really magical day. And it just kind of ended up being, the theme of the song was kind of bigger than just my daughter being sick for the night, but just my role and my calling as a mother, that I'll be there for them, and until it's their time to fly and, be independent, big people, and just my heart for being there for them and being their mum.
It's a really special idea, I think, within that song, and something that, yes, parents are going to relate to, but I think too, like those of us who have kids in our world, thinking about what our role might be in how we help shape, how we help develop, and how we help enable them, for life going forward. When you think of what the world looks like even now, and the world that your children are going to be growing up in, what are some of the qualities that you want to teach them and really raise them to have, thinking about that going ahead?
I think for me, like my son's now in school, and education's important, but I feel like for me, more than education and knowledge is the type of person they're going to be, like kindness, and how they handle all sorts of things, like how they handle rejection, how they handle someone else winning and them not winning, and just like the character building side. So that's one thing that I really love to nurture, and just knowing like my role as a parent and people's role as teachers and aunties and uncles, and the whole village of community, bringing up the next generation to listen to children. I think sometimes the generation before was brought up from their parents in different ways, and I think at the moment we're kind of starting to realize just listening and understanding where they're coming from, and maybe understanding where the behavior comes from. So like, say my son, I don't know, might get upset and hit something or whatever, and I just really love to like not just be like, you don't hit, and I understand that's discipline, you don't hit, but like, what's happening? Are you tired? Are you hungry? Just coming from like this place of compassion, and getting rid of shame. I don't know, I have so many ideas, they're all just coming out, but
Bring them.
I just want to have that holistic approach, and I feel like I just really want to bring them up. They're going to be their own people, and I want to celebrate who they are and how God made them, and champion that. So I had my son in piano lessons because I really thought piano is the best way to start music if he wanted to be in music, if he was passionate. And to be honest, like we've done 6 months of piano, and I'm like, show me something. He's like, like he's not. But I had one lesson of drums for him yesterday actually, and I said, how'd you go with drums? And straight away he's like, I learnt this 1, 2, 3, and he did this like little drum thing, and I was like, oh, and he just like kept going over it. And so I'm like, oh, I see a passion there. Like I see that that's a natural thing. So even though I'm not keen on drums, maybe like in the house, this is something that he's interested in. So look, I had a lot of thoughts there, but hopefully some of that makes sense.
Yeah, no, they're all good. I'm glad you're bringing them to the table. And I think in that too, I hear a desire for you to help your kids find their passion, their calling. That's also been something clearly very important to you. What's your advice to people who may be kind of struggling with that a little bit, like that sense of what is my purpose? What is my calling? How do we become more aware of what it might be?
Oh my gosh. I'm not sure if I'm the expert in this. But for me personally, I think sometimes people can't, like, I have some family members with young kids and they're not sure, like, what's your passion, your passion. But sometimes it doesn't have to be like a thing. Like, I sing, I play drums. It can be the type of person you are, the interests that you have that might not look like the same, like, impressive things that other people have. But I don't know. I think it's just like, what type of heart do you have for people? Like, maybe you have a heart for the elderly. Maybe I don't know, you like to, it's just so many different areas because God is so amazing that He creates everyone so unique. And so it's just embracing that and like thinking outside the box. It might not be like a physical skill, but it could be, your heart towards people as well.
Yeah, I have heard some people say, it can be about what problem you want to solve. Like, so it may not necessarily be a skill, like you say, but it's like if you see an issue and you think that really annoys me, whatever it might be.
That's great.
That can be a way to apply it too.
Okay, I'm going to take that on board, Laura. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, we can write that one down for the two of us. But in your experience as well as a singer, you have touched on the fact that you sung at church and are singing in these more kind of mainstream spaces in all sorts of different places. Was that an adjustment for you to go from a more worship-based context to something a little bit more performative?
I don't think it was for me because I think during singing at church, I also was backing vocal for Jessica Mauboy and Guy Sebastian, like Paulini and a few other artists over my life. So I feel like I had already like developed that performance skill over time. I had lots of singing lessons where we performed at cafes and things like that. And then even at church, outside the worship kind of realm, we did, Christmas spectacular and things like that. So I think I like to use that skill and do it unto God no matter where I am. I think sometimes people are like, oh, worship isn't a performance, don't perform. But there is some elements of communication when you're worship leading. So sometimes if you're at home maybe singing to God, I don't know, you might not be presenting it to other people. So I think sometimes when I'm worship leading at church, or when I used to, you still use those skills, because sometimes if you're worship leading at home, you might just want to sit down and curl into a ball, but you might not do that on stage.
Yeah. You can't kind of be in your own little igloo.
That's right. And so you got to think, okay, I'm actually inviting people and I'm communicating with people in the church. So I don't always say like it's so separate. I know the heart behind it. But yeah, I just think, God's given you a gift as well, and you use it in different ways. So I still love to inspire people when I perform and inspire people when I worship, and it's all interchangeable.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear you say that, because I kind of bring it up because I know for some artists there's this interesting, depending if you've grown up in Christian community or not, there can be this sense that you don't want to be drawing attention to yourself with whatever your gift might be, that it's all about like deflection and taking attention off yourself and onto something else. But I feel like that must undermine your ability to perform well if that's kind of the attitude that you're brought up in. So it sounds like that hasn't been a challenge for you.
Oh, it has. I think that's why I'm at the point where I can articulate it, because I've thought about it. I've had people say before, I've never felt like it was about me when I'm worship leading either. I just feel like sometimes people encourage you so much. Like I've had someone say, I was like, I'm nervous today. And they're like, well, it's not about you. And I'm like, that kind of like cut me deep. And I was like, I know, but I still have to be the one that stands up there and does it. Like, it's not about me, but if I crumble, then it just makes it, it makes it worse. Yeah, I think that I kind of learnt to have, I think I thought it was taking away your confidence. Like, it's not about me, but I think God partners with you. So I've kind of stepped up into confidence in that, well, it's okay to be seen, because I actually don't like being seen. It's really weird. Like when I first won The Voice, I was like a bit paranoid going like around to the shops when people were recognizing me and stuff. I was so like, oh, I don't like this, but I love connecting with people. Like I loved that people came up. It was just this weird thing, like that I'm seen.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably like, growing up, sometimes you think, oh, it's not about me. But then it's okay to be seen, because if you shine a light and you shine your heart, then you have to be seen. So I don't know.
No, I love the way you express that. And I think too, on your socials, you've shouted out your husband, Paul, so many times, and how it's been this adjustment for you guys as a family, that he's had to carry so much, as so much has changed for you in the last year. What does that really look like, some of those changes?
Yeah, it's been a full life, which I feel like any person who has work, it's a full life. And if you have kids on top of that, there's just no buffer or margin. So we have a very good marriage. I feel like we've got really clear communication, and my husband's just very, like, I think one of his superpowers and his strengths, if you do the strength finder, is like helping people and helping and serving. And so he naturally just goes, okay, what's needed? And he's such a doer. He's just a doer, if that makes sense. He's always doing something. So it just meant that he did really well at like balancing work and, okay, then I'll pick up the kids because you're away. I've got the kids. So he's very hands-on dad and always has been. So yeah, I'm really glad that I married someone who actually like does a lot of things, because otherwise it would be really hard.
Yeah, someone that supports the dream.
Yes, he's really supportive of the dream, and he's a muso as well. So when I met him, we were singing in a band together. So he is a singer as well. So he gets this side. He loves the creativity. A lot of like the promo stuff that's on my Instagram, because you have to promote yourself. It's a way of getting the word out there that your music's out and stuff. But he does that. Like sometimes, after work, after he's put the kids or I put the kids to bed, he's like up late at night. Oh, I edited a reel for you or something. So he's really extra supportive, but it does make a big difference because, yeah, it's a big life.
Yeah, good on you. No, good on him for doing that too. Like, it's really nice to see couples, whoever is the one that, has that moment in the spotlight in whatever way, to be championing each other, to be supporting. I think it's really cool. And one of the things you said about last year, especially, you described it as walking in the healing. What did you mean by that?
I'm not sure what I meant, but I'm thinking, I don't remember saying it, but I think for me, all that confidence that I didn't really have, and I used to get really, really nervous before performances and then build it up and just think this is so tiring to like perform because I'm just in my head, and then like I get heart palpitations and what do people think of me and all those kind of things. So when I was doing the show, The Voice, I had a Christian psychologist who was just wonderful and just really helped me with a lot of mindsets to kind of get through. It was a very stressful process, but it was also an awesome process to get through each performance and kind of heal from a lot of those mindsets that kind of stop me or hold me back from singing, because I would just really get like a tight throat. And then even though I can usually sing at home, once I get on stage, I felt like I could hardly sing and I'd have to like just push it out.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I meant, and that's the process that I've gone through. So I think a lot of people have those kind of nerves when they're doing kind of things like this. So yeah, it's been a really good process for me, like just changing my mindset of like what people think of me, just being a little bit more present in the moment and not like the what ifs, like what if I fail? What if this happens? What if that happens? And so I think it's helped me now after the show as well.
Do you think all artists, need to hear you say that you had that psychological support through this? I think that's, oh my gosh, so important for people to know that, because a lot of artists don't necessarily have that. A lot of us on an individual level, whether we're artists or otherwise, right? Whatever our careers might be. Like, do you think it's important to be getting that kind of support alongside whatever you're doing professionally?
Oh, 100%. I totally believe in psychologists, that they have the skills to help people with whatever they're going through. And so sometimes we just have these physical responses that we think, oh, I don't know what's happening. Why do I have like a tight chest, or my breathing, or, heart palpitations, or all those kind of things? But it's usually a sign that your body's telling you something, my mind is telling me something, or I've got some core belief that maybe isn't helping me or maybe isn't positive for for me. And so it's really good to be like, see a psychologist, like a really good one, and you can connect with some and not connect with others, and you can go on that journey like, yeah, they didn't really help me. But when I found this one, she just really did. She just really helped kind of get all those feelings out of my body and work out why. So she really believes in like core beliefs and what are you telling yourself in that moment, and what's that belief system that you've got there, and then helps break apart those belief systems until I can sing on stage. Was
that always something you were going to do as a performer, or did sort of the voice process make you think, hey, this could be a good idea?
I have seen a psychologist for anxiety. I think I've had anxiety, a little bit of a depression, a few moments, but I've kind of realized now that it was all linked to like undiagnosed ADHD and trying to cope with stressful times without all the tools. So I've had psychologists over the years, and they've been great and they've really helped me. So I think it just was good timing that the psychologist that I had also is just really amazing at, like, she has lots of different therapies, or whatever you call it, that help with different things. So she was like, oh, I can help you with, your mindset on stage, because it kind of all links. Like, there's a core belief somewhere that affects me on stage, but it probably affects me somewhere in life as well. So it was just good timing that she was there. And so I definitely would email like, can I see you again next week? I've got another performance. And so, yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Hey, well, thank you for sharing that with us, because I know that can be a little bit personal. So I appreciate you, speaking about it, because I think it's going to matter, a lot to people. And you've also spoken previously about, yes, the joys of winning The Voice and everything that's come with that. But you've also described it as a sacrifice. What are some of the sacrifices that have been involved?
I think for me at the time I did The Voice was having young kids and having to leave them and what that meant for our life, because it meant a huge sacrifice for my husband and a huge sacrifice for me and my kids. At that time, when I went up to that blind audition, I was still breastfeeding my daughter. So I had to wean her. I had to then also, because I was looking after her full time, find a childcare, and I had a few weeks to find a childcare, get her settled in as well, and all that kind of stuff. So it's all that kind of stressful day-to-day life, like. And yeah, I have two kids that rely on me for mummy cuddles, and food and what they're going to wear. And, they're at that stage. So, yeah, it was a big sacrifice. And I guess I trusted that this must be for a reason and that I'm going to give this a go. And, but I didn't know that I was going to be away for I think it was 6 or 8 weeks straight. I didn't really, I'm never kind of foresee, whatever the word is, that I was going to win. And so I thought, I'll probably be out. There's amazing singers in this competition, babe. Like, as I was talking to my husband, I don't think I'll probably be out next week. And he's like, no, you won't. And I was like, no, I'll be home next week. So it was kind of like we did 1 or 2 weeks at a time. So my husband's just looking after them for another couple of weeks, and then I'll be home. And then I was like, well, I got through, so I'll probably be And so, yeah, I think that was the main sacrifice within The Voice. And then for us now, I'm so grateful, first of all, that I won $100,000, because that was such a blessing, because we were, have bills to pay. And so we have a mortgage, and I was singing, teaching, but it didn't really earn that much because I had the kids and all that kind of stuff. That was the season we're in. So it really did help us not stress day to day about money. So that was a really cool thing. But yeah, I think now it's just because of this, it's just still working out who's picking up the kids and reading into the kids, okay, they need their mummy, I'm going to be home, or I'll keep them home from school, all those things. So I think that's probably the main sacrifice, but I'm finding a balance now. So it's not feeling too bad.
That's good, because it's you do get that little breather, you get that financial kind of assistance for a window, and then the grind, I imagine, can just get straight back into it. And now, as you're releasing new music, and I'm guessing this first single, Hold You, is the first of perhaps an album and everything that's to come from that. Where's your mind at now? What are you looking at going forward in terms of your music?
So I've actually started writing another song last week. So I'm really hoping that I finish that in the next few weeks and release that. So it's sometimes a bit of a process to work out when we're releasing and what we're doing around it. But yeah, so definitely another couple of songs. We're in talks about what the next step is, but some ideas I have anyway is I really want to write a lullaby album for babies, for mums, while they're putting their babies to sleep. I don't know if that's going to be this year or next year, because it's actually a big process. But yeah, I really want to do that. I'd love to release some more Christmas music. I'd definitely love to do an album. But yeah, it takes time, it takes money. And so I'm kind of learning about the business that it's slow and steady, but we'll get there.
And it sounds like you just want your music to be something that sows into the life of people that listen, right? To write music that, from that perspective, sounds like it's actually about the gift that it will be to the listener. It's not necessarily about whatever you need to express personally. Am I articulating that well?
Yeah, that's true. I feel like if I'm writing music, I want it to be an inspiration and also just be real. I'm not trying to just write inspirational music, but I'm just trying to live my life and hope that it helps people. Not that I have a better, bigger, or more amazing life than other people, but just if people like my music and they like my stories, then hopefully they can get something out of it and be inspired. The next one that I've written, I'm not sure if that's the one I'm going to release, but it's actually written about a family member who just needed a lot of encouragement. So I started to write that about her and her worth. And so I hope that is one that comes out next anyway, so that hopefully will be really encouraging to people as well.
Well, I'm keen to hear it. We're keen to hear it. And I want to ask you, Tarryn, as we finish up, a question that I ask all of our guests on this podcast. You know, it's called Undistracted. We talk about how to live intentionally around your passions, your purpose, dealing with the things that get in the way of that. For you to live an undistracted life, what do you think that would be for you, to be in pursuit of those things that really, you know, fire you up?
I think for me, over my life, I just really don't want to be caught up in things that don't matter. And so things like fame, that doesn't interest me. Like even things that are great opportunities, but they're not God opportunities, or they're great opportunities, but they're not good for my family. They're the distractions that over the years I've learned to be like, it doesn't matter what that looks like or how impressive that is. If that's not for me and that's not the right choice for me, then I'm not going to do it. So I think those kind of distractions are definitely a thing. I mean, also social media. I don't even know what to say, but the social media is a distraction for me. I'm worried about how it's going to be a distraction for kids, because you can be on TikTok or something and all of a sudden you're like seeing a sad story, and then you're seeing another sad story, and then something else pops up that you have no control over what pops up. And you're like, oh, that's a bit sad. I don't want to see that. And then you just down some hole when you're like, actually, I need to be present. I need to be in this household. I need to not be worried about everything that's going on all at once, because it's very overwhelming. So they're probably the distractions in my life that, I don't need.
No, and good ones that a lot of us probably need to address ourselves as well. But Tarryn, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. It's been great chatting with you.
Thanks for having me. See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Undistracted. You can let me know what you think. Find me on Instagram at laura.bennett_. Would love to hear your stories. You can email undistracted@hope1032.com.au. And until next time, enjoy living this undistracted life.